The legislature will take up the issue in January along with a host of other issues. Brandon Smith joins us now. Brandon, you've had a chance to read through the legislation. I want to stay on the topic of anti-discrimination for just a minute. We'll talk about some of the other items lawmakers laid out too. But if any part of the Senate GOP's proposal is struck down as unconstitutional, then Senator Long says the entire act fails. What's the rationale beyond that?
Well, here's how Senator Long explains it.
We don't want one piece to be cherry-picked out of it and the rest to stay. We think this entire package is necessary in order to have the fair and balanced bill that we're looking for.
Essentially what Long is saying is that the balance in this bill is how he's selling it to his members. And so if a court tries to upset that balance, he'd rather the whole law gets thrown out if just one piece is struck down.
Brandon, do you get the sense from lawmakers that they're trying to just get this out, the anti-discrimination bill, quickly just to address it so that they can move on to other things? Well, this is something that will come up later on as well?
It really depends on which lawmakers you're talking about. Senate Republicans clearly want to address this issue and move on, but House Speaker Brian Bosma wasn't nearly as definitive. In his floor speech, he talked about doing nothing as an option, though he did say that the legislature needs to have the conversation if nothing else. There is absolutely a scenario in which this issue is not resolved this session.
And lawmakers say another goal this session is to develop a comprehensive plan to fund transportation infrastructure. What's the clear consensus, though, on how to fund that, Brandon?
Well, it's really going to be a debate between short and long-term funding. Now, Governor Pence and Senate Democrats have come out with proposals, or excuse me, House Democrats have come out with proposals that are really about four-year funding plans. Senate and House Republicans are looking for answers that go well into the next decade and beyond. So it's not necessarily a partisan issue here. It's going to be about the little details.
And Brandon, every year legislature says dub the year an education session. Do we see that again this year?
Absolutely, and it shouldn't surprise anyone that the top two education issues lawmakers say they're focused on are the teacher shortage and the statewide I-STEP scores. Now, House Speaker Brian Bosma has pledged to make it his chamber's #2 priority to find ways to attract more students to the teacher workforce. They're going to introduce a scholarship program, which was first brought up by State Board of Education member Gordon Hendry. And then lawmakers in both chambers say they need to work quickly to find a way to what's called decouple teacher evaluations from the statewide I-STEP scores, which are expected to be much lower than usual.
Okay, thank you very much, Brandon.